arteries. But let's talk today about nutritional deficiencies and their effect on the arteries, causing inflammation in the arteries, leading to a buildup of material that we call arteriosclerosis, ultimately causing a blockage, causing heart disease. I'd mentioned earlier that back for a number of years, when we removed all the vitamins from the food supply, that we had a number of strange conditions which in worst case situations became conditions on their own, but there were a number of people that would have had low grade versions of this condition. And pellagra I mentioned, which is spelled Pellagra. If you have a look at that on Wikipedia, you'll see the skin lesions that people had from that disease, which we've forgotten about that disease today. It's almost like it's in the history books. But when I was a young person, in my teens back in the 60s, we learned all about this because it wasn't that many years earlier when people had these diseases. Now, as per the Wikipedia example, I mean, that's a very chronic situation, but there were many people with this low-grade inflammation in the blood vessels that caused the body to try to fix it, leading to arteriosclerosis, okay? And so there's absolutely no doubt that a deficiency of vitamins by eating the wrong foods, as well as junk foods, will contribute to heart disease. I think that you've heard people talk about vitamin C and the linkage of that to heart disease, and I want to explain that also. Many years ago, back in the times when the sailors founded America and founded Australia and so on, we had scurvy, and scurvy in its worst case is a blood vessel disorder, and hence why people started bleeding, they had bleeding gums, they ultimately died. And it didn't take long with a vitamin C deficiency that within a 6-week voyage that a number of sailors died. What we still see today is very low grade levels of vitamin C problems. They're not total deficiencies, because if they were, a person would be dead. No, we're not seeing that, but what we're seeing is very low grade, where the vitamin C intake is too low, causing a degree of inflammation either on the outside, on the skin, on the scalp, or inside the blood vessels. The important thing to understand is that when people get eczema and when people get psoriasis, those are very similar conditions. Actually, psoriasis is closer to blood vessel inflammation. I think eczema, in many cases, is more to do with reactions to maybe soap or some allergen, some chemical, and the body reacts to it. Psoriasis is a little bit closer to what happens inside the arteries if there are certain things missing in the diet. And vitamin C, certainly the scurvy that we saw at a very low-grade level, there's low-grade inflammation in the arteries will cause buildup of material and ultimately blockages. And so to avoid that, if we learn from history and see, what we gave names to scurvy, pellagra, beriberi was another one which had a cardiovascular effect, that we don't see those diseases anymore, but we see low-grade versions of them causing inflammation in the arteries. And so one really needs to look at what we're eating to avoid heart disease. And once again, it's a complex subject. It's not just a case of eating more vegetables or eating more fruit and drinking more water and so on. I mean, it is those sorts of things, but I think it's a hard lifestyle change, and I would certainly encourage anyone that is worried about their health to seek the support of a practitioner that understands this. So that's typically going to be someone who understands nutrition, whether it's a nutritionist, whether it's a lifestyle counselor that understands the subject. Could be a doctor, could be a naturopath, could be an osteopath. There's some wonderful books written out there, and I would certainly encourage you to read those. But at the end of the day, if there's something that causes heart disease, it's not cholesterol. It's what we're doing to ourselves in terms of the foods that we eat and the vitamins that we're missing. So hopefully that'll help you a little bit today to understand the importance of fixing that. See you next time.